What's up, guys? Tim Little. Welcome back to TacticalBassin. Today we are talking the Ned Rig, Ned life, and how to put more fish in the boat in these type of conditions. Today is freezing, right? We got 4 to 6 inches of snow forecasted here in Clear Lake. Just cold conditions. Typically this time of the year we're kind of phasing out winter. We're starting to get into that spring transition. But today, this week, Mother Nature threw us a curveball and we got weather coming. We already got snow on all the mountains back behind us. Today, tonight, tomorrow, we're gonna get more snow forecasted. So if I was going out fishing today, what bait would I be throwing? This Ned Rig right here has put more fish consistently in the boat for me in tough conditions than just about anything else in the last couple years. We have a lot of new subscribers on the channel, so thank you guys. You guys may or may not have seen the video we did a little over a year ago. Matt did an in-depth Ned Rig video, and that's what I want to do. That's what I want to share with you guys today. Just some tips, some tricks, some explanation of what the Ned Rig is, when to use it, why to use it, how to use it to catch more fish and put more fish in the boat. The Ned Rig, if you guys have been lived under a rock or you're new to bass fishing, you haven't heard of a Ned Rig. The original Ned Rig is the TRD. This is the Z-Man. It's got the Elastec plastic on here, little mushroom style head. It's an ultra finesse bait. You're using this in cold water situations, tough fishing conditions, when the fish just do not want to, they don't want to play, right? They don't want to eat. This is a bait that you can drag down there, soak in the front of their face, and produce lots of fish and big fish. So what is the Ned Rig? Again, the Ned Rig kind of took over the finesse fishing part of the fishing industry. It took it by storm 3 or 4 years ago. It's been out for a little while now. And to Matt, it just seemed kind of blah, like kind of just dumb, kind of like the Senko when it first came out. But our eyes were quickly opened when we saw and got a chance to really spend time with the bait, learn how to use it. Our eyes were open with the potential it had, especially in cold water conditions and post-frontal conditions when the fishing wasn't that great. So again, the Ned Rig, what is it? It's about a 2.5 to 3 inch bait. There's several companies on the market that make actual baits for it, but the original is the Z-Man, the TRD. You take a little mushroom style head, little mushroom style jig head with a little finesse hook. This is a finesse bait. You can see the whole thing is only about 3 inches. You're going to use it on light line, 4, 5, 6, 8 pound test. Like I said, there are several companies on the market that make plastics or worms for the Ned Rig heads, but some of my favorites are the Roboworm, and like I said, the original, the Z-Man. Now, the Elastec, this stuff, if you take some gel super glue and as you slide this onto the shaft of the hook, take a little bit of super glue and put that on the head and slide this down. With this Elastec, the durability of it is phenomenal. You can catch so many fish on one bait. So you new fishermen, you fishermen that have kids that go through a lot of plastics, look into getting some of this, the Elastec stuff from Z-Man. I will link all of that, all the stuff I talk about today, I'll link down below in the video description. But this is a great product because it is super durable. Now the benefit of the Roboworm, the other bait I like to use, is the colors that are available. Roboworm has some tremendous colors, some real clear colors, some sculpin and goby colors that work really well. I like to keep them as natural as possible. I like to go with your goby or your sculpin colors, your green pumpkin, gold, purple flake. Roboworm has a ton of colors. Again, I like to keep it simple, so go with your natural colors. Like I said, the green pumpkin, black flake, your shad colors. Another, your Craw colors. A color I really like by Roboworm is a Desert Craw. This one, Matt and I, we caught a bunch of smallmouth last year on this bait. It's kind of a green pumpkin, almost like an Aaron's Magic color, but it has an orange belly and orange tail. I don't know if you guys can see. But the benefit of the Roboworms is you have so much different colors to choose from. And that's why these are my two favorites. So super durable, good colors, durable, great colors, lots to choose from. These are my two go-tos. Again, keep it natural, shads, green pumpkins, craw colors, and you guys will be set. So when to use the Ned Rig? Again, I kind of touched on it a little bit. Post-run conditions, when fishing is tough, you're in a tournament situation, you need to put fish in the boat, you want to go out fun fish, you just want to catch fish, you're out with your kids, you want to just put fish in the boat, that is when the Ned Rig shines. It's a super easy presentation. It's a super easy bait to fish. You don't have to do a lot to the bait. You don't have to move it a lot. You pretty much cast it out there, let it fall, and just kind of drag it. Again, that's why I didn't really jump on the bandwagon right in the beginning, because again, it just seemed like it was just a do-nothing bait, but you know, it mimics gobies and sculpins and little bait fish so well that the fish just pick it up. So you throw it out there, let it hit bottom, and just drag. Now the Z-Man floats. You know, that was one of the big questions when we first did this video. Does the Roboworm float? It's got more salt in it, so no. But when you're just dragging this, it's sitting up here on the mushroom head, and you're just kind of dragging it, and this is the tail's up there just doing its thing, right? It's just working and just kind of nonchalantly just bouncing around. Same thing with the Z-Man. This thing floats, so it's up there, just sitting there. You don't have to do much action with the rod tip. Just let it sit there. Let the current and the water movement to move that bait kind of seduce those fish into biting. But to fire it out there, let it hit bottom, and just kind of drag it. They do make larger Ned Rig worms, and that kind of goes hand to hand with the actual action of the bait popping up real high or real fast and getting that thing to jump up and dart. I don't do either. I don't use the larger baits, and I don't put a lot of action into the Ned Rig when I'm fishing it, because if they're willing to eat a bait that's hopping up and falling down, I'm going to go with a tube or a Gets It. If they're that reactive, I'm going to switch to a reactive style bait. Where the Ned Rig really shines, again, is super finesse techniques, clear water, light line, when the fish are finicky. So when you start expanding into larger worms, larger Ned Rig worms, I feel like you'd be better off going with a shaky head or a Nico rig or a weightless Senko, something like that. For me personally, the Ned Rig really shines when it's that small package, light line, finesse gear. That's why I stay with the small package. So again, very easy fish and lots of confidence in it. As far as gear, now I'm not going to get too in depth on which rod and which reel and all that sort of stuff. Me personally, I like, for my finesse techniques, besides drop shot and besides vertically fishing, I like a longer rod, a 7.2 to 7.6, something that's like a medium light or a light action that has a real soft tip. You know, we've shot videos in the past talking about rod deflection, you know, the bending in the rod tip. This rod right here has a real soft tip. It's made for throwing real light baits. Deflection, so when you fire a bait out and you're kind of dragging that bait along and you're watching your rod tip load, right? You're watching it load, unload as you're ticking off rocks. You learn the feel of your bait, of your Ned Rig. You learn what that rod tip looks like when you're dragging it. The weight of your bait as it's loading the rod. On these ultra finesse techniques or these clear water techniques, a lot of the time the bass will swim over and just pick it up. They'll swim over and just pick it up, and your rod will just unload a little bit. Or they'll pick it up and come to you. Then your rod just unloads, your bait starts lying slack on the water. You got to pay attention to that sort of stuff. So a rod with a nice soft tip with deflection, where you can start loading and then all of a sudden it feels a little heavier than before, and you watch it. You're watching that rod and all of a sudden it goes toot toot. That's a fish just down there. Reel down and jack them. So as far as a rod, I'll link some of my favorites down below in the video description. But beginners, any light spinning rod will work for you guys. I'm not going to get in, like I said, there's such a wide spectrum of rods. So beginners, you know, go with your worm rod, your light worm rod. You advanced guys, I'll link some technique-specific rods, some of my favorites down below. But make sure you have a nice soft tip and something where you can see that deflection. We talked about how to fish it. We talked about the baits themselves, the little rigging technique. Make sure, even with the robos, make sure you take some super glue, the gel super glue, and put it on the head and slide it down. It'll make these baits last so much longer. Some of my favorite Ned Rig heads, you know, when they first came out, the TRD hat, you know, they still have their little mushroom head. It's a real small head, real light wire hook, and they come in some different sizes, like 1/5 or 1/6 or 1/8. I use those, but you know, especially fishing here in Clear Lake, I like to use something with a little more stout of a hook. So I went with the Owner. Owner has some Ned Rig heads out that I like really well. But either way, guys, both of these will work, and I've caught a lot of fish on each. One tip I do want to share with you guys, you know, I mentioned before this Elastec plastic. This stuff is phenomenal, but it doesn't play nice with other plastics. You know, the Plastisol, do not leave or do not mix your TRDs with other soft plastics, because they will melt and deform, and you'll have yourself a gooey mess in your Plano box. So make sure that if you are fishing the TRDs, you keep them separate from your other plastics. As far as gear, we talked rods. So 7.2, 7.6 rod. Line, I'm a braid to leader guy, so I'm going to throw 10 and 12 pound braid to a 4, 5, or 6 pound fluorocarbon leader. Typically 6 pound, unless I feel like the fish are really line shy, then I'll drop down. But I'm typically going to go with a braid to a 6 pound fluorocarbon leader. Depending on the depth that I'm fishing, I will go with a longer leader. If I'm fishing pretty deep, I'll go with a 15, 20, 25, 30 foot leader to make sure that fluorocarbon is the only thing they see. They don't see the braid in front of their face. I hope you guys learned something from this video. Again, we have so many new subscribers. So many guys have been asking about a Ned Rig video that probably haven't seen the other one. Those of you guys that have been around for a little while, you know the damage that these things can do. So if you guys learned something or you like this video, hit that like button, give us a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to our channel. We're doing 3 videos a week for you. If you guys have any questions, please leave those down in the comment section. Matt and I will try and get to those. But we appreciate you guys. Hope this helps. Have a good one.